I love talking about Caitlin Clark on this show, and she participated in some kind of LPGA Pro-Am, drew monster crowds. There's pictures of just like everybody trying to get an autograph with Caitlin.
Caitlin Clark just shattered the silence, and what she said left both the WNBA and LPGA reeling. After weeks of swirling injury rumors, skipped appearances, and a viral LPGA cameo that stole headlines, Clark finally spoke. But instead of calming the chaos, she lit a match. Her statement didn't just hint at her next move, it opened a floodgate of speculation. Is she nursing an injury, or quietly plotting a pivot to professional golf? Is this a betrayal of basketball, or the evolution of a modern sports icon? One thing's clear, Caitlin Clark is no longer playing by anyone else's rules. For weeks, fans had been holding their breath. Caitlin Clark, once the loudest force in women's basketball, had gone eerily quiet. After carrying the Indiana Fever through a grueling rookie season and dominating headlines all summer, she suddenly stepped back from the spotlight. Whispers started circulating. She looked off in her last game, favoring one leg. Then came a missed press appearance, then another. Rumors of a lingering injury spread like wildfire. Was it just fatigue, or something deeper? Meanwhile, something unexpected was brewing on a different field entirely. Caitlin Clark popped up not in a gym, but on a golf course. And not just any course. She was spotted at the Pelican Golf Club, standing side by side with world number 1, Nelly Korda. Photos showed her holding her own on the tee box, laughing with fans, and walking without a limp. Sports media scrambled to make sense of it. Was she rehabbing through golf? Or was this a soft launch into an entirely new career? Then, out of nowhere, Clark dropped a line that stopped everyone cold. "I've always followed what fuels me," she said calmly when asked about her future plans. No denial, no commitment. Just a simple truth that said everything and nothing all at once. For fans who had been desperate for clarity, the ambiguity only stirred the pot. Was this her way of hinting at a real shift? Or was she just playing the media at its own game? Whatever the case, the timing of her words was deliberate. Clark had gone from total silence to a statement loaded with implications. And while it didn't confirm the worst fears of basketball loyalists, it didn't shut them down either. In fact, it did the opposite. It added fuel to the fire. Because while Caitlin may have said just one sentence, the world heard a warning shot, and they weren't ready for what came next. The rumors didn't start in a vacuum. They were born the moment fans noticed Caitlin Clark walking with an unfamiliar stiffness after a heated WNBA matchup. At first, it was brushed off as post-game fatigue, but then she skipped media availability. Then she wasn't seen at team practices. By the time she quietly pulled out of a scheduled appearance, the whispers had become deafening. Was Caitlin Clark injured? And if so, why wasn't anyone, Clark, her team, or the league, saying a word? Social media exploded with speculation. Some believed she was hiding a stress fracture. Others suspected a knee or ankle issue. Fans flooded comment sections with concern, while sports pundits started asking uncomfortable questions. The WNBA, already criticized for its lack of transparency around player health, stayed silent. No official reports, no injury updates, just a void. But it wasn't just her absence from basketball that raised eyebrows, it was where she was seen. Instead, mere days after skipping key media events, Caitlin was spotted casually swinging a golf club in Florida. She wasn't limping. She wasn't wearing any medical gear. She looked fine, better than fine, relaxed, smiling, totally in control. It sent fans and analysts into a frenzy. How could someone reportedly dealing with a lower body injury suddenly look this comfortable on the golf course? Was the injury exaggerated? Or was golf now part of her rehab routine? Sports medicine experts chimed in. Some suggested that golf, with its low-impact motion, could actually help with recovery. Others speculated this was a strategic pivot, used the injury narrative to step away quietly from the court and explore other opportunities without scrutiny. But the most chilling theory? That there was never an injury to begin with, that Clark was simply creating space, whether it was to breathe, to recover mentally, or to send a quiet message to the WNBA and its fans. Caitlin's vanishing act wasn't just about health, it was about control. And that's what made everyone nervous. Because when Caitlin Clark moves in silence, something massive usually follows. At first glance, Caitlin Clark's appearance at the LPGA's Pelican Golf Club looked like a fun off-season cameo, an athlete blowing off steam. But the deeper you looked, the clearer it became. This wasn't casual. This was calculated. The LPGA didn't treat her like a guest. They treated her like a headliner. Clark was paired with none other than Nelly Korda, the world's #1 golfer. This wasn't a random matchup, it was a marketing power move. The Golf Channel completely rearranged its programming to air. Their round lived something almost unheard of for Pro-Am events. Fans swarmed the fairways in numbers that rivaled actual tour championships. Ticket sales spiked, autograph lines wrapped around the venue. Even casual golf viewers tuned in, not to watch a champion golfer, but to watch a basketball star who looked disturbingly at home on the green. And it wasn't just hype. Caitlin Clark held her own. Her swing, smooth, her distance, impressive. She drained a long-range putt that sent the gallery into a frenzy. Commentators were stunned, not by her fame, but by her form. This wasn't someone picking up a club for the first time. This was someone who had been quietly preparing. Turns out, she had been. Clark had played in the John Deere Classic the year before, paired with major champion Zach Johnson. Teammates and families say she's been golfing since childhood, just never in the spotlight until now, between her visible skill, her undeniable charisma, and the crowd she brought with her. One question started circulating across social media and sports talk shows: is Caitlin Clark preparing to go pro in golf? It didn't sound so crazy anymore, especially when you considered what golf could offer her: less physical wear, lucrative sponsorships, and an entirely new fan base already in love with her. Basketball made her a star, but golf might let her build her empire. And if that sounds far-fetched, just remember, every empire starts with a quiet takeover, and Clark's may already be underway. The moment finally came. After days of viral speculation, mounting media pressure, and golf world hysteria, Caitlin Clark stood before a row of microphones at the Pelican Golf Club. A reporter asked what everyone was thinking. Would you ever consider going pro in golf? Clark didn't flinch. She smiled, looked out over the packed gallery of fans, and dropped the sentence that turned a rumor into a movement. I'm keeping all doors open. Why limit myself? That was it. No firm, yes. No polite, no. Just enough ambiguity to ignite a wildfire. Sports outlets went into overdrive. Was that a strategic tease, a veiled threat to the WNBA, or a sincere peek into her long-term vision? The phrase was instantly dissected like a presidential speech. And while the words were simple, the implications were anything but. Because Clark didn't say, "I love golf." She didn't say, "Basketball is still my priority," she said. Why limit myself? It wasn't just a comment, it was a pivot in tone, one that suggested Caitlin Clark is no longer waiting for a league to decide her legacy. She's ready to build her own. That one statement wasn't just a headline, it was a declaration of independence, and the fallout came fast. Within hours, basketball fans split down the middle. Some cheered her ambition, calling her a once-in-a-generation athlete capable of dominating any sport. Others called it disrespectful, even arrogant, to hint at walking away from the game that built her. WNBA players, many of whom spent years clawing for visibility, bristled at the idea that Clark might be ready to jump ship just one season in. But Clark didn't walk anything back. No clarifications, no press corrections. She let the storm build and watched as the sports world bent around her gravity. Because this wasn't just about joining the LPGA, it was about sending a message. Caitlin Clark is no longer content to be a face of a league. She wants to be a force across them all. And for the first time, that idea feels terrifyingly real. Caitlin Clark's statement wasn't just heard, it echoed. And not everyone liked what they heard. Within 24 hours, the WNBA community began pushing back. Some fans who once cheered her every move were now questioning her loyalty. Others accused her of being too focused on brand building instead of basketball. The tone shifted from admiration to agitation. Comment sections filled with heated debates. Was Clark turning her back on the league that drafted her? Or was she simply doing what The league failed to thinking bigger. But it wasn't just the fans who reacted. Behind the scenes, WNBA players began voicing quiet frustration. According to anonymous insiders, several veteran players felt blindsided by Clark's LPGA comments. One even reportedly said, "We've been carrying this league for years. Now someone shows up, gets all the attention, and might walk away after one season." The resentment was real and growing. It wasn't just about Clark exploring golf. It was about timing, perception, and the spotlight. Some players felt overshadowed, not by her talent, but by the narrative that the WNBA needs saving, and that Clark is the one to do it. Her crossover success unintentionally reignited the league's deepest tension. The individual versus the collective and the league's silence only fueled the fire. No official statement, no clarification, just awkward stillness as the media. Frenzy raged. While the LPGA was proudly promoting Clark's presence, the WNBA looked frozen, unsure how to handle its biggest star publicly floating another path. To some, this silence felt like neglect. To others, it felt like a power struggle, because make no mistake, Clark's crossover isn't just a personal choice. It's a statement about who gets to own their career, and that hits a nerve in a league still struggling to balance star power. With unity, as one analyst put it, this isn't just Caitlin Clark playing golf. This is Caitlin Clark challenging the system. And the system, it's starting to push back. While critics debated her loyalty and teammates whispered about betrayal, those closest to Caitlin Clark weren't shocked by her sudden rise in golf. In fact, they saw it coming. Long before she was draining logo threes and electrifying WNBA arenas, Clark was spending quiet summer afternoons on the golf course. According to family and friends, golf wasn't some trendy new hobby. It was a lifelong passion. Her father introduced her to the game when she was just a kid. She's played regularly for years, not for attention, but for escape. In 2023, she even made a notable appearance at the John Deere Classic, paired with PGA legend Zach Johnson. Footage from that day showed more than a casual swing. It showed someone with control, rhythm, and years of muscle memory. Johnson later remarked that her presence was shockingly natural. Most fans never saw the footage, but the LPGA, they remembered. And now, with a national spotlight beaming on every move she makes, the sport she used to turn to for peace may be turning into her next platform. Insiders have confirmed that Clark isn't just a fan favorite, she's being recruited. The LPGA has reportedly floated future partnership offers, from promotional deals to potential sponsor exemptions in select tournaments. Major brands like GameBridge are already testing the waters with her. Even golf commentators have begun using phrases like crossover potential and dual sport icon. What was once a personal outlet is becoming a professional possibility. But this isn't about leaving basketball behind. It's about rewriting what it means to be a modern athlete. Clark doesn't fit the mold of a one-sport star. She's built for something more fluid, more disruptive, and more free. As fans debate her future, they might be missing the point. This isn't a sudden left turn. It's the natural evolution of someone who's always walked her own path. And if her childhood, sport, is about to become her next empire, it's only because she's been preparing for it her entire life. As the dust settles and the headlines begin to cool, one question remains unanswered. Is Caitlin Clark quietly planning her exit from the WNBA? Or is she executing the boldest power play in women's sports history? The signs are all there. Injury rumors gave her the perfect window to disappear. Her LPGA appearance gave her a new platform. Her statement, calculated and cool, ignited a media firestorm without committing to anything. All of it looks, on the surface, like a subtle retreat. But if you look closer, it might be something else entirely. Caitlin Clark isn't just navigating her career, she's negotiating her value by stepping into golf. She's doing what few female athletes have dared to do, create competition for the league she plays in. She's showing the WNBA and the world that she doesn't need to be boxed into one sport, one brand, or one system. She's letting everyone know that her name alone is more powerful than any logo on her jersey. And that's terrifying for the one. But for years, the league has struggled to balance star promotion with collective identity. But Caitlin Clark is rewriting that dynamic in real time. Her crossover into golf isn't about leaving basketball, it's about raising her stock. And it's working. Other leagues are paying attention to sources say unrivaled. The emerging women's basketball league, backed by elite talent, is making an aggressive push for Clark in the offseason. Combine that with her rising golf interest, brand deals, and a massive fan base, and you begin to see the picture. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's a business. So is this her exit strategy? Possibly, but it could also be her way of telling the WNBA, if you don't value me, someone else will. One way or another, she's forcing a shift. The rules are changing. And for the first time in a long time, a female athlete isn't just reacting to the system. She's rewriting it, one bold move at a time. Caitlin Clark didn't announce her retirement. She didn't sign a golf contract or walk away from basketball. But with one sentence, why limit myself? She flipped the script and forced the sports world to catch up. What started as injury, rumors turned into something much more powerful, a moment of clarity. Clark is no longer just a rising star in women's basketball. She's a multi-platform force, challenging how female athletes are marketed, respected, and valued. While the LPGA seized the opportunity to embrace her as both athlete and icon, the WNBA hesitated and now risks losing its most magnetic figure to a league that's willing to build around her brilliance. She's not just swinging golf clubs for fun. She's swinging at a system that still doesn't know how to handle a woman with this much influence, reach, and ambition, whether she dominates the court, the course, or both. One truth is impossible to ignore. Caitlin Clark isn't playing by anyone's rules but her own. And in doing so, she's not just changing sports, she's changing what it means to own your career. This isn't the end of her story. It's the start of a new era, and we're all watching it unfold in real time.